want to just make a video here on this new gun I just picked up recently. This is a Ross Mk.III or Ross M10 or Ross M1910 is what they're considered, the different nomenclature they gave to them. This is a Canadian produced World War I firearm at .303 caliber, and you can go on various videos and check out the whole history of the Ross rifle. I've got a couple books here that talk about it. I'm not going to go into the whole history of the Ross rifle or anything like that. I just want to show this particular firearm right here. I decided to pick it up because, like, I've had Rosses over the year. Like, over the years I've had them, and like, they used to be very cheap guns, like, I mean, talking like $100 guns, and people would avoid them. A lot of people, for some reason, they would had this mythology that they were unsafe to fire, and there's even talk about like the bolt flying back and actually killed a couple guys. I don't see how that's actually possible. I mean, like, maybe it happened during trials or something, because that's like in some books they mention it, but I seriously doubt that ever happened. I think it's just that people see the straight pull action and they don't really understand it well. So these guns were not very good selling firearms, but recently their prices have they've gone up a massive amount. Like, even these guns, like the majority of them have been sported out in such a way that you cannot turn it back into the actual military gun, because almost every one of them has the barrel cut down. Usually they cut them down to about the length of a Lee Enfield, about 25 inches, and the normal one is like almost 30 inches, I believe, and they almost always are cut down. Sometimes it's because the bores in them are so poor, which is another thing on these firearms. They always seem to have very poor bores in them. So I kind of stayed away from them myself, and then I was kind of getting interested in them again. I have my Lee Enfield collection and enjoy shooting the .303 cartridge, so I found this at auction, and this gun really has almost everything going for it as far as a surplus Ross goes. Like, really the only thing up front is the barrel has been cut down to 25 inches. It's not the original full-length barrel, which, like, I just accept it at this point. The ones with the full-length barrel, if you find one, like even a sported one, they're like, they go too high for what this gun is, in my opinion. And if you get the full military configuration, which there's lots out there in full military, you're talking, like, in Canada, like $1,500 probably minimum for a full wood. Even like that one that's been desporterized, you're talking a lot of money. So anyways, I found this one, and this gun has a lot going for it. Like, I'll show basically why I chose this one when I've seen so many others that I could have picked up but I passed on. So first off, the basic stock it's actually been modified. The original Ross rifle stock is quite, like, chunky right here, where your hand, I would compare it to, like, for Americans, they like the M1 Garand, how it has a really, really fat grip on it, and it's kind of uncomfortable. I mean, it's usable, but it's kind of uncomfortable. And this one's been reshaped, and actually it's been really nice, really comfortably reshaped. So anyways, so it has the original butt plate. This has been reshaped, so I mean, it just is what it is. The trigger guard, it has, I'm missing one part. I'm missing this screw here, which I will replace as soon as I get a chance. but it's got the sling swivel on here, which you don't see a lot of the times. A lot of times this is just missing. I don't know if this was deleted from later models of Ross, but it's on this one, which is something that I really appreciate that on there. I think that this is more valuable to have than the front screw, which I can probably just find another one of those. Another thing is the top piece of wood here. This piece of wood is, you see them and they're almost always cracked. Even this one here has a slight crack right there. So it's not mint, but it's on there, which is like a bonus. And then it's got the mid band, which again, sometimes they're sported. This is, there's nothing on here. There's no band at all. So having these parts is just like a bonus. It makes this gun more valuable in my opinion. And then the barrel, it's got the front sight, the actual Ross front sight on it. And the bore on this gun is not too bad, and it's got a really nice crown on it. And then the rear sight, it's got the original bridge and the rear sight. Everything is good there, which is, it's nice to have those. Sometimes they're missing. They're not that hard to find, but sometimes they are missing. And the firing pin, something's been like the little, there's usually a little eyelet, like a little hole in the back, and it's, for some reason, it's been ground off the edge. It's not a big deal. The bolt is also, it's an unpinned bolt. And what that is, for people who don't know, they put a pin in the later Rosses to keep you from being able to disassemble the bolt wrong. Like the problem with the bolt flying out of the gun, like you could misassemble the bolt, and then if you shot it with a misassembled bolt, then this could fly back. But this one has not been altered. There is no pin in it, which is not a big deal if you put it together properly. And it's nice that it's unaltered, like it's the original way it came. And as far as markings go, it appears that this one wasn't sent overseas for World War I. Like I can't find any British proofs on it. A lot of the ones we have here have gone overseas, and you get the non-English make mark, or you get the British export mark with where it says the tonnage on it, and it's a whole mess on there. And this gun does not have it on there. And then it's got the early style Ross Canada M1910. It doesn't have the, I think the later ones just say M10 on them. So that's a really nice to have it this way. It's almost like sort of like untouched that way. Like it doesn't have all that extra stuff on there, which sort of ruins the history of the gun, in my opinion. And then it's also, which is really cool with this gun, is it doesn't have the enlarging cylinder, which is the Ross rifles. Another notorious thing on them is the tight chambers. The tolerances in the 303 chambers is like it's very tight, and most of the guns you see, especially the ones that have come back, which have all the writing on them from export from Britain, they always have like an LC or an EC, enlarging chamber marking on them, which means they've been like modified out for, I don't know if it's actually the same dimensions as an Enfield chamber, or if it's even slightly larger than an Enfield chamber. I'm not positive on that, but this one actually retains the original chamber as far as I can tell, because it's not marked. And that's something that's really nice to have. It's unfortunate that the barrel has been cut down, but not having that is kind of it's kind of nice to not have one that's been modified. Other than that, like, like that's just kind of why I picked this gun out of all the different sporters that you see at the auctions or like just used, because this one has so much going for it. It's so complete, and then it's also unmodified. Certain parts of it are unmodified in their early parts as far as I can tell. So really, other than that, there's not a whole lot to say about it. And the condition is like there's a little bit of rust starting at like the little bit of pitting on there, but it's in very good condition as far as I'm concerned. And here's the inside, the locking lugs. There's no burrs, or sometimes these will be chipped and there'll be burrs on them, like if it's not properly going into battery. And so really everything's good on this. It took me about like almost a week, I think, to clean this thing up and get all of the dirt and grime and all the crap out of the magazine and everything. And so now I think it'll be a good shooter, I think. And I may do videos in the future shooting it, but I guess that's about it for now. That's all I really wanted to say, and thank you for watching.